Imagine a world where a headache might be cured by drilling a hole in your skull, and a common cold was a sign that your body was dangerously out of balance. This wasn't a fantasy realm. This was the reality of medieval medicine. Journey with us back to a time when healing was a complex and often terrifying mix of ancient philosophy, religious faith, and raw, desperate practice. At the very heart of this medical world was a concept inherited from the ancient Greeks: the theory of the four humors. Medieval physicians believed the human body was a vessel containing four essential fluids: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Each humor was linked to an element and a season, and together, they governed a person's physical health and temperament. A perfectly healthy individual was one whose humors were in perfect equilibrium. Consequently, every illness, from a minor cough to a deadly fever, was diagnosed as an imbalance of these vital fluids. A person with too much phlegm, for example, was considered lethargic, while an excess of yellow bile was thought to make someone angry and choleric. To correct these imbalances, a hierarchy of healers offered a range of treatments. At the top were the university-educated physicians, who served the wealthy elite. They would diagnose illnesses by examining urine, consulting astrological charts, and then prescribing a course of action. For the common folk, the more hands-on work was left to barber surgeons. These practitioners were the masters of bloodletting, a terrifyingly common procedure intended to drain excess blood using either a sharp knife or a writhing handful of leeches. Monks also played a vital role, not just in caring for the sick in their monasteries, but in painstakingly copying and preserving the ancient medical texts of Galen and Hippocrates, keeping knowledge alive through the ages. If the remedies were unsettling, surgery was the stuff of nightmares. Performed without any concept of anesthesia or sterilization, medieval operations were a brutal ordeal of last resort. Surgeons, often the same barbers who cut hair, would perform harrowing procedures. One of the most dramatic was trepanation, the practice of drilling a hole directly into the skull. This was done not just for head injuries, but also to release demonic spirits or cure madness. On the blood-soaked battlefields, amputations were swift and savage, with saws cutting through bone while the patient was held down, fully conscious. The pain was unimaginable, and the risk of infection and death was astronomically high. This entire medical system, with its rigid theories and brutal practices, was brought to its knees by an unstoppable force, the Black Death. When the bubonic plague swept across Europe in the mid-14th century, it was a cataclysm unlike any other. Physicians, with all their knowledge of humors and herbal concoctions, were utterly powerless. Bloodletting did nothing to stop the black buboes from appearing, and prayers offered little defense against the swift and agonizing death that followed. The plague's devastation exposed the profound limitations of their medical understanding. Though filled with practices we now see as misguided and barbaric, the world of medieval medicine was not just a dark age of ignorance. It was a crucial and complex chapter in the human story of understanding ourselves. The catastrophic failure to combat the plague shattered old certainties, forcing a painful reevaluation that, over centuries, would clear the way for scientific inquiry, anatomical study, and the eventual dawn of the medical world we know today.